Welcome back to HD Racing, to another multiplayer race on Le Mans Ultimate, which is a sim that I've really enjoyed so far. Not only because the racing on it feels really great, but also I think it's nice to watch because of the graphics, the sound and the quite clean racing that you can have here in multiplayer. So I really hope that you enjoy this one. I had a lot of fun. So we are about to get going here, and there's the green flag. We are on Spa in the LMP2s, by the way, starting from P6, and already I make a move here and we are 3 wide into turn 1, at least partially here. How the hell did that go this clean? Have you ever seen such a clean turn 1 on Spa in any other game or sim? I don't think I have. That was really ridiculous, and it's even more ridiculous in my opinion since there are a lot of new people in this game which, like me, haven't driven LMP2s all that much or at all. And still the races are quite clean, and we're gonna talk more about that later, why I think that is. But for now we are having some trouble in front. The green and yellow LMP2, they're really having some trouble, and there is some more bumping going on in the background. It's not like that these races are all like super clean. There of course is some bumping going on and there are some mistakes being made, but both because it's not all that often and there's not crazy ramming going on most of the time, and also because if there is some contact, the contact physics and the netcode is quite good in Le Mans Ultimate. It really leads to great racing, and yeah, this is why I really enjoy this. By the way, unbeknownst to me, we are actually in P3 already, which I was really surprised. I don't know when in the race I noticed this. It might be around here, but I was quite surprised because my pace in qualifying wasn't amazing, and I was lucky that I managed to get to P6 after qualifying. So that I'm now here, I was like, that's probably not gonna stay. I was kind of hoping for it, but let's see if we can get this P3 to the end. This is a 15-minute race, so there is still quite some time. There is already someone right behind me, so I decide to go defensive here for bus stop. I lock up a little bit, but it's still kind of fine. So yeah, maybe I should mention this if you don't know. These cars, and basically all the cars in Le Mans Ultimate, don't have ABS, so you need to be quite careful when braking to not lock up your tires and, well, go sliding. It's really bad, and I'm gonna show you some examples later why that is and how that affects the car, both in terms of, well, the tires in the moment, and then also the degradation that comes from that. But we are not there yet. For now, we are still in P3, which, as I said, I was quite surprised by, and in the race I was like, oh, this is gonna be stressful. The people in front are probably gonna run away, but so far I'm at least trying to stay with them. I knew I didn't have the pace to actually keep up through this whole race, but I was kind of hoping that I could maybe stay somewhat towards the top 3 and hopefully maybe keep a podium, but it's still too early to tell. And so far I'm doing okay, I have to say. As I said, it's with the braking and also just the general handling, it's a little bit more involved and difficult than the other games or sims that I play. Forza Motorsport is one that comes to mind, which is a lot easier in most cars, and ACC, even with the cars having very good traction control and also ABS, they are just easier to drive. Also because they are slower. LMP2s are quite fast. Not quite on the level of hypercars, which are still a whole nother level in terms of difficulty for me. I haven't driven them in multiplayer yet. I just don't... I haven't found the courage yet, I have to say. I will hopefully at some point. But for now I'm quite content driving the GTEs and the LMP2s. And LMP2s already are fast, as you can see. And well, here you can see my first big mistake. I lock up a little bit too much because I think I was a little bit too late on brakes, and then maybe did hold them a little bit too long. And how I managed to save that was quite a ridiculous slide in my opinion, and I'm getting already flashed from behind if you saw that in the mirror. And already once again for turn 1 I lock up a little bit, And if you take a look at the tire display in the bottom right, you can see the 4 green tires that are displayed there. If those get yellow, orange or even red, then that means that they are getting too hot. And that's mostly from locking up and, well, them sliding. So from normal driving they rarely get too hot. Sometimes they do, just because of stress in a corner when they are loaded quite a lot. But yeah, I definitely have some moments here where I'm not managing the tires properly. And you can see here I'm struggling, and the guy behind is there and he's thinking about going for the move, but is not. But I also make a big mistake here. Go a little bit too wide. It wasn't that big of a mistake, but I then turned in, and you maybe saw that there was a little bit of contact, but nothing happened. So that's the net code for you. I think I turned in on him a little bit, but that's mostly due to the fact that I thought he was still behind me, because the mirror, the virtual one at the top, is a little bit deceiving, I found. Even though it looks like in the mirror they are still behind you, they can already be beside you. And that's something to do with the FOV and I think the position of the camera, basically, which depicts this mirror. That's something that you definitely gotta know, and a radar would definitely help here. And luckily I found out that for Le Mans Ultimate, even though there isn't one in game yet, you can use external tools, so basically a plugin to display stuff like a radar, and also quite a lot of other stuff. There's a lot of telemetry put out that you can use. Here, by the way, I decide to not defend and just take the normal line, and once again I lock up a little bit. It wasn't much, but it was enough to get me sliding. And once again, drifting through bus stop here, it was, yeah, kind of ridiculous in my opinion what was going on in this race. And I definitely feel the pressure from behind, and here I go a little bit too fast into turn 1 and go wide. Because of the curbs and the gravel, I did go back on track in a way that wasn't all that safe. The bump that I got from the guy that was then overtaking me was enough to get me straight once again, luckily. So we are still going, and he also wasn't all that much adversely affected by that, so was kind of lucky in that whole situation. Also meant that another guy managed to overtake me here, so I am back at P5, which I would still be happy with, I guess. But in the moment I thought, yes, of course I made a mistake, of course they overtook me, but I really would like to get a podium in this race. And I mean, it's still possible. They are still within reach, but it's gonna be difficult, because at least the guy that is now 2 places in front of me has the better pace. You could see that from the last couple of laps. So we'll see. I mean, they can also make mistakes, so we will see how this goes. We are jumping ahead a couple of minutes here, as there wasn't really much going on. I was still trying to keep up, but you can already see the guy 2 places ahead is now 4 seconds away. I'm still keeping up with the guy directly in front of me and keeping a little bit of a gap to the guy behind. 1.5 seconds right now, but another mistake here, braking way too much for that corner, as you could see, and got a big lock up there. It's something that you really need to take care of in these cars, and it's something that it's a learning process, I've found, and I'm still not very good at it. I think I'm okay, and I can do it, like braking without ABS here. You can see here once again braking maybe a little bit too late, and you can see the front right tire in the tire display getting really hot, and partly that's because the tire is just under stress, but I think there was a little bit of a lockup going on. One nice thing that you can do, even though this is a fixed setup series, you can adjust electronics, and as I make a big mistake here once again, did you see it? I switched gears to neutral. If you, for some reason in these cars, in this game, you can do that. You can actually shift down to neutral, and that can really lead to bad situations. I've already had that a couple of times. You really need to be careful to not downshift too much and just go to first gear in those corners. But as I was saying, you have the electronics to play with. So that's traction control. There are a couple of different settings for that, and also brake bias, which some of these, I'm not quite sure if the LMP2s have this, but at least the hypercars have some sort of like dynamic brake bias, not being completely automated, but you basically can have different brake bias if you brake more or less. It's something that I really need to look into. It looked really interesting from what I've seen, but I haven't played around with that yet. But yeah, brake bias, I could have maybe set a little bit more towards the back, as I mainly when lockup happened had it in the front. So yeah, something that you can play with to, well, get the feel on the brakes a little bit more in tune with what's going on, especially with the track, the different corners, and also the tire degradation, which is something that is very much adversely affected by these lockups, especially the lockup that you saw in the last lap where I had like a full lockup. You basically slide with your tires over the asphalt and that generates flat spots. And flat spots you can really feel in the force feedback. It's really like a rumble, a stutter in the force feedback. Well, because your tires are having some places where they are basically worn out way too much, and well, you can feel that. If you've ever had a flat tire in real life, I think you know what I mean, what that feels like. As I slide here once again into turn 1, I really had quite some trouble here, and it's something, as I said, that I need to get used to, both on braking and also, well, when the tires do degrade, that I really need to take care to, well, adjust to that. And yeah, as I said, that's something that's so fascinating to me in this game. There's a lot more to manage here than just driving around. You really need to take care of your car, of your tires, and adjust to the situation and what's going on in the race. And well, as I said, I think that it's really, really cool, and I've said it multiple times now, I really enjoy also the online racing in this because it is so clean. Talking about that, as I said in the beginning, I wanted to, I think the racing here is quite clean, comparatively speaking, to other games, because of the way the safety rating is implemented. Because you have only 2 series in the beginning that you can do if you are basically starter safety rating, and you need to get safety rating to get access to more series. So that's also including multi-class ones and, well, different fixed and also open lobbies that, well, you can see here we both go wide, and there is someone off. Are we getting a position here? We are. So I get a little bit of a slide once again. So we are up to P4. But yeah, as I was saying, the safety rating being a requirement for, well, more variety and more different races, I think is a really good way to make sure that people actually care about safety rating. Not quite sure if that's gonna still be the case in the long run. That really depends on how harsh the safety rating is, in terms of if you have bad races in terms of safety, that you actually go down safety rating, and you really need to take care of that. If that's the case, I think it's one of the best implementations that I've seen that actually makes people care about it enough to where it actually becomes like very good for most people to have clean races. And you can see here, as I said in the beginning, everyone can make mistakes. The yellow and green LMP2 there also making a similar mistake as I did in one of the first couple of laps, going wide, slowing down in the gravel, but he is still there. He's still, and he is attacking. It seems like he might even be on my side already, and I didn't, well, defend early enough, but luckily he doesn't send it. This could have ended quite ugly in these couple of corners, but well, we luckily managed to both survive that. I think mainly because he didn't try to force this, and this is what I mean. People drive more carefully, more aware, and I think the whole setup of this makes for really enjoyable and safe, mostly, online races. You can see he's really trying to get me. Even went off track there a little bit, I think. But so far so good. I even outbraked myself a little bit here. I think He tried to go for a gap there that maybe wasn't really there, and he's still trying, and well, so far I'm managed to keep him at by. I have to say, in these situations this is really stressful. I am on P3 right now, which was kind of the goal. I was kind of at least hoping to get to that, but being here now and having that pressure from behind is really, really stressful, but in a fun way for me. So last couple of corners here, we are on 0 on the timer already, and we've actually made it. I really didn't think I would see this after I did fall back to P5, but we actually made it. P3 podium here, and looking at the times, I definitely wasn't the fastest here, as you can clearly see, but it was okay, and it was enough from my consistency. Even though I made some mistakes, others did as well, and I profited there. And overall I think the race by me was that it was my first LMP2 race in multiplayer here, wasn't all too bad. And yeah, as I said in the beginning, I really enjoyed it, and that is something that I hope that comes across, and I hope that you enjoy watching these races as well. Definitely let me know in the comments what you think. I think from a spectating perspective, this game also has quite a lot of potential. I've also recently found out that you can watch replays in this. Sadly for this, for some reason it didn't save, but there is a quite complicated way, but there is a way to watch replays already. So that's something that I want to incorporate in the future as well. But yeah, I think both from the graphics, the sound and the racing itself, this could be something that is really fun to watch. As I said, let me know what you think, and if you want to see more races in Le Mans Ultimate. I think it really has potential to become something where, well, it's just, if you want to get good clean racing, you go on Le Mans Ultimate. So far I've not had this clean of racing in any other game, I don't think. Even ACC with the LFM system isn't as clean as I've seen here. Like maybe in the higher safety ratings, but I'm still in rookies most of the time on LFM, so definitely there the racing isn't as clean as it is here. But something that only time will tell how this will pan out. I really hope that you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will hopefully see you next time. I've been HD Racing. Thanks a lot for watching.